Hey, so you say you want the truth, where he go? Why they mad? We the messengers of hope. If you ain't gotta get a clue, you better know. Most high rockin' with it, see the way it go. So you say you want the truth, where he go? Why they mad? We the messengers of hope. If you ain't gotta get a clue, you better know. Most high rockin' with it, see the way it go.
Can you tell me what's the truth? Ay, I don't need your words, I need proof. Ay,
Yes, sir. So coming up on Sunday, we got everybody's favorite pagan holiday, Easter, Ishtar. Damn. So we're gonna read in this book. Read the title for me, please, soldier.
This is the pagan origins.
The what?
The pagan origins
Of what?
of Christian holidays.
Okay. Okay. Let's see. Let's see what the book says.
Damn. Chapter 6, Easter. Easter is perhaps the most prominent festival in the Christian religion.
Mm-hmm.
It's a movable feast that occurs on the Sunday after the vernal equinox.
So they do it during the spring equinox.
According to Christian tradition, Easter Sunday is the festival that commemorates the resurrection of Christ on the third day.
That's what they say, but jump to the next page where it says Sunday.
Sunday, first Sunday, day of the S-U-N.
So day of the S-U-N.
Not the S-O-N.
So it's a day of giving homage to Tammuz, the pagan Messiah, the sun god, not the son of the Lord, not Jesus Christ. Keep reading.
Christ could not have possibly been crucified on Friday and resurrected on Sunday.
Huh.
The only sign that Jesus gave to indicate that he was indeed the Christ was that he would be in the grave for 3 days and 3 nights.
And my math ain't the best, but Friday night to Sunday morning sunrise isn't 3 days and 3 nights.
Just like that, the justification for celebrating.
Go ahead over somebody, because this thing right on time up in here. You go and bring that out.
Yes, sir. So coming up on Sunday, we got everybody's favorite pagan holiday, Easter, Ishtar. Damn. So we're going to read in this book.
Hey, so you say you want the truth, where he go? Why they mad? We the messengers of hope. If you ain't gotta get a clue, you better know. Most high rockin' with it, see the way it go. So you say you want the truth, where he go? Why they mad? We the messengers of hope. If you ain't gotta get a clue, you better know. Most high rockin' with it, see the way it go.
Can you tell me what's the truth? Ay, I don't need your words, I need proof. Ay, Babylon gon' burn when them nukes. They been lying to us too. Ay, now we prophesy to the youth. They been hating, I been waiting to see Zion back recouped. Ay, truth be told, the recompense you owe me. Every day I battle with the old me. You done do forever what you told me. I done see some change.
So you say you want the truth, where he go? Why they mad? We the messengers of hope. If you ain't gotta get a clue, you better know. Most high rockin' with it, see the way it go. He go like.
Go ahead over somebody, because this thing right on time up in here. You go and bring that out.
Yes, sir. So coming up on Sunday, we got everybody's favorite pagan holiday, Easter, Ishtar. Damn. So we're going to read in this book. Read the title for me, please, soldier.
This is the pagan origins.
The what?
The pagan origins.
Of what?
Of Christian holidays.
Okay. Okay. Let's see. Let's see what the book says.
Damn. Chapter 6, Easter. Easter is perhaps the most prominent festival in the Christian religion.
Mm-hmm.
It's a movable feast that occurs on the Sunday after the vernal equinox.
So they do it during the spring equinox.
According to Christian tradition, Easter Sunday is the festival that commemorates the resurrection of Christ on the third day.
That's what they say, but jump to the next page where it says Sunday.
Yes, sir. Sunday, first Sunday, day of the S-U-N.
So day of the S-U-N.
Not the S-O-N.
So it's a day of giving homage to Tammuz, the pagan Messiah, the sun god, not the son of the Lord, not Jesus Christ. Keep reading.
Christ could not have possibly been crucified on Friday and resurrected on Sunday.
Huh.
The only sign that Jesus gave to indicate that he was indeed the Christ was that he would be in the grave for 3 days and 3 nights.
And my math ain't the best, but Friday night to Sunday morning sunrise isn't 3 days and 3 nights.
Just like that, the justification for celebrating the most important holiday in the Christian faith is disproven.
Of this what?
The word.
No. All right, jump down to the word. Yep, jump.
The word Easter actually derives from the Anglo-Saxon goddess Eostri.
Eostri, she is what?
She is identified with the Babylonian fertility goddess Ishtar.
So Easter goes back to Babylonian worship, to Semiramis, to Ishtar, to Astarte, to what she was called, Frigg, Freya. All those female deities from all those different religions goes back to Babylonia. Now jump to. Oh, we can get it. Yes, sir. Yeah, let's read it.
Sexual rituals in honor of Ishtar.
Yep.
In Babylon, like many other ancient pagan cultures, human sexuality was associated with fertility in nature.
And Ishtar is a fertility goddess.
Temples were erected in Ishtar's honor, and sexual ritualism was associated with the worship of her.
Now sounds Christ-like to me. Keep reading.
Some scholars attest that each year, around the time of the spring equinox, the marriage of Ishtar and her consort Tammuz,
and Tammuz was her son, which she made her husband because they were trying to bring Nimrod back to life,
was reenacted.
That's very nasty.
This ceremony consisted of a sexual ritual between the king of Babylon and the high priestess of Babylon.
So they made members of this thing every year.
It was believed that this union would ensure plentiful crops. Sacred prostitution was also practiced in honor of Ishtar. Herodotus describes this lascivious act as follows.
Read.
The foulest Babylonian custom.
The foulest.
Is that which compels every woman of the land to sit in the temple of Aphrodite.
And what does she do?
Or Ishtar, and have intercourse with some stranger once in her life.
Keep reading.
Many women,
they all had to do this. This is where your Easter comes from.
Many women who are rich and proud and disdain to mingle with the rest drive to the temple in covered carriages drawn by teams.
Jump down to once a woman takes her place.
What did you say?
Once a woman has taken her place there, she does go away to her home before she does not go away to her home before some stranger has cast money into her lap. Some stranger has cast money into her lap and had intercourse with her outside the temple.
So she can't go nowhere until some bama throws her some shekels and she has sex with him.
But while he casts the money, he must say, I invite you in the name of my leader.
That's the mantra they got to say.
It does not matter what the sum of money is.
So no matter how much he's getting paid, whether it's 1 shekel or 200 shekels, so that's your 1 cent, $40 hoe.
The woman will never refuse, for that would be a sin.
So that would be a sin back then, for her not to have sex with some random stranger.
The money being by this act made sacred. So she follows the first man who cast it and rejects no one.
Damn.
After their intercourse, having discharged her sacred duty to the goddess, she goes away to her home. And thereafter, there is no bribe, however great, that will get her. So then the women that are fair and tall are soon free to depart.
So the one who are so-called beautiful,
but the uncomely have long to wait.
Damn. So how long did some of these busted sisters have to wait?
Because they cannot fulfill the law.
They couldn't fulfill the law by having sex with a stranger.
For some of them remain for 3 years or 4.
Damn. So just like Semiramis, she supposedly had sex with Tammuz during the spring equinox, and a child was born on December 25th. So the same sisters that did this at the temple, they had to sacrifice their children as well on December 25th. Okay, you got something?
Right, yeah. Give me, I'm going to read this real quick. The goddess Diana reigns over nature, fertility, and childbirth. So that's the same spirit. Give me Acts 19. I'm going to show you something. We're going to show you something here that what we read in the scriptures is very relevant to today. We're going to show you back then and also today. Read Acts 19, start at verse 24. We're going to jump.
The book of Acts, chapter 19, verse 24.
Come on.
So a certain man named Demetrius, a silversmith, which made silver shrines for Diana, brought no small gain into the craftsmen.
So when you look at all the Easter bunnies they rolling out, the candy and all that, they getting paid. It's the same thing. Jump down to 27.
Verse 27. So that not only this our craft is in danger to
the reason why I was in danger because Paul was out there rebuking the evil like we do. Come on.
So that not only this our craft is in danger.
So that lets you know if you're a prophet of God, you're going to be disrupting idols, idolatry, wickedness. This truth, you're going to be messing with people's money. I'm going to tell you straight. Right. That's why you think Christ flipped over the money changes, man. The tables. Watch this. Come on.
To be set at naught, but also that the temple of the great goddess Diana should be despised, and her magnificence should be destroyed.
Come on.
Whom all Asia and the world worshipeth.
So whom all Asia and the world worship. Now let's go to 1 Timothy. What does that got to do with anything? Because we read about the sexual exploits of those in the temple. Our people was following that custom back in the day. So now, because people, when we pull this out on the street, like, why are they reading this and why is that in the Bible? We're going to show you why this passage is in the Bible. 1 Timothy 2 and 9.
1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 9.
Come on.
In like manner also, that women adorn themselves in modest apparel.
That women do what?
Adorn themselves in modest apparel.
So when you look at the dress code, if we could pull it up, I should have sent over the image, but though we have sisters that was coming in following and living or worshiping Diana, they used to have the female togas on. They used to have one of their breasts out or both of them out. Read it again.
In like manner also, that women adorn themselves in modest apparel.
Because they was following after Diana, the fertility goddess.
Hold on, I was going to say, they do that in the Christian church?
Yeah,
Walk in
they
with
do
their
that in the
breasts
Christian
out.
church with their breast out. Come on.
With shamefacedness and sobriety.
Come on.
Not with braided hair.
So it says with shamefacedness, because what we pulled out in the history is some of them used to sit up in the temple and wait for somebody to throw some money at them, so they'd be giving the brothers the sex face.
The hell is this?
So they had to come out of that. Come on.
And sobriety, not with broidered hair or gold or pearls or costly array.
The reason why they was dressed like that, as we read, because when the man came into the temple of Diana or whatever, or that custom back in the day, they had to be dressed a certain way.
Yep.
They was prostituting. So that ancient Babylonian custom, the Romans took and said, we're going to call that Diana. Yep. And our people was following that. That's why we read what we read in Timothy here about the sisters got to dress modestly because they were coming out of that. So that's it on that. We want to make sure we just connect everything so people are not confused.
Can I read one more part really quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
For you?
Read
So this is
that.
page 48. I'm going to read it real quick. It says, Easter was not celebrated by early Christians. Easter in relation to Christ was not celebrated until several hundred years after his death. It was common practice of the Catholic Church to overtake the pagan days and rites in order to lure pagans in. The pagan Sunday was transformed into the Christian Sunday. Sunday and Easter are identical because Sundays, from the Catholic perspective, are simply the reoccurrence of Easter. The obvious problem with such a position is that stamping the name of Jesus on a pagan day does not in reality make the day Christian. On the contrary, those who observe Easter are simply continuing the pagan customs of antiquity.
Damn. All them Bamas got cut. So you sitting up in there on Sunday, you just continuing on the pagan customs. That's all it is.
Boy, ain't no way, boy.
Damn. That's why you got to search the scriptures, man. And that's how you know the prophets of the Most High God on this earth.
We in this building.
That's right. That's right.
So let's start in the book of Colossians chapter 2 and verse 8.
The book of Colossians, chapter 2, verse 8. Beware, lest any man spoil you
So beware, meaning watch out before any man trick you.
through philosophy
Uh-huh.
and vain deceit,
And vain deceit, trickery.
after the tradition of men,
Easter is a tradition of man. And what is it not after?
after the rudiments of the world,
It's worldly.
and not after Christ.
And not after Christ. None of the apostles, none of the righteous Israelites celebrated Easter. It was is and always was a pagan tradition. Let's get the book of Genesis 10 and see the root of where Easter, that wicked celebration that y'all Christians celebrate, where it came from.
The book of Genesis, chapter 10 and verse 1.
Uh-huh.
Now these are the generations of the sons of Noah.
Uh-huh.
Shem,
Where the Israelites come from.
Shem, Ham, and Japheth.
Uh-huh.
And unto them were sons born after the flood.
Jump to verse 5.
Verse 5. By these were the isles of the Gentiles divided in their lands.
So we see division already. From jump, we see division of the nations.
Everyone after his tongue, after their families,
Uh-huh.
in their nations.
Keep reading.
And the sons of Ham.
So the sons of Ham are the ancient Hamet, the real Africans, who were the original inhabitants of the land of Canaan. We're going to read about them right now.
Cush,
Uh-huh.
and Mizraim,
Mizraim, that's what Egypt's former name.
and Phut,
Uh-huh.
and Canaan.
Canaan, the land of Canaan that we ended up inhabiting.
And the sons of Cush, Seba, and Havilah.
Jump down to 8. 8 is where the main star is at. We're about to read about.
Verse 8. And Cush begat Nimrod.
And Cush begat Nimrod. Let's read a little about Nimrod. Let's see.
And he began to be a mighty one in the earth.
Uh-oh.
He was a mighty hunter before the Lord.
He was a mighty hunter before the Lord, talking about him being a hunter of men and a hunter of souls. Because from Nimrod, Tammuz, and Semiramis came many and many false religions, false idols, which we still follow today. Well, not us, but you Christians follow today. But as a nation of people, the Israelites, they still follow them. Unfortunately, every pagan holiday, every pagan god you read about in the scriptures come from his lineage. And this got renamed over and over again, and we're going to read some different names later.
Wherefore it is said, even as Nimrod, the mighty hunter before the Lord, and the beginning of his kingdom.
So the beginning of his kingdom
was Babel.
So let's read the definition of Babel, what that means. Babylon.
Babel, Merriam-Webster Dictionary. A place of uproar and confusion.
Confusion. Let's see some synonyms. Click on look, what do we got? Madhouse, mess, pandemonium, clatter, chaos, noise, turmoil. I think go scroll down the bottom. Disarray, disorder. Read the last one on the left.
Hell.
Hell. So like I said, when you celebrate Easter and you following cousin from Nimrod, you are going to end up in hell. So now let's go to Leviticus 23 and 1 to 2. Let's see what days we are supposed to celebrate according to the Bible. Just really quick before we delve more into Easter.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 23 and verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, concerning the feast of the Lord.
Concerning the feast of the Lord.
Which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations. Even these are my feasts.
Even these are my feasts. So when you read in the book of Leviticus 23 and some in the Apocrypha, there are certain high holy days that the Most High ordained. And those are the only days we're supposed to celebrate as separate Sabbaths or as holy days. That's it. We're not supposed to make up any of our own days at all. He said, these are my feasts. All right. 2 Babylons. Let's read the book of 2. Actually, no. Jump to... We're going to read the 666 book, the Antichrist. Yeah, we're going to take a look at this really quick. So we're going to see some of the many names where Easter comes from. So this is the book called Illuminati, the Antichrist by William Sutton, 666. So we're going to cover Nimrod and Tammuz in a different series, but today we're going to talk about Semiramis, the queen of heaven, which we're going to read about in Acts and a couple books later. She had many names. She was called Ashtaroth. She was called Astarte. She was called Rhea in Babylon and was also called Ishtar. Sounds like Easter to me. She was called Beltis in Assyria, Aphrodite in Greece, Diana and Cybele in Rome. In Egypt, she was called Isis and Hathor. In India, she was called Isi and Davaki. In China, she was called Hango and Masupo. In Mexico, she was called Corolucu. And in Scandinavia, she was called Frigg and Freya. And I know y'all have probably heard a lot of those terms before in like Greek mythology and all those Odysseus books and all that stuff. That's because it's the same pagan god just renamed over and over and over again. Now, let's go to, we're going to read some pages out of the pagan origins of, you guessed it, Christian holidays. So let's start at page 33. We're going to read about, where do we start? We're starting off with Lent. When y'all put that dirty ash on y'all forehead.
Lent is the 4th day before Easter. And is observed 40th. Is the 40th day before Easter. And is observed in many Christian denominations. This is the 6th and 1/2 week period that lasts from Ash Wednesday to Easter Sunday. During Lent, Christians fast and refrain from various pleasures. This is said to be for the purpose of preparing to commemorate the passion, death, and resurrection of Christ.
That's what they say.
Although the Holy Scriptures do ordain a period of fasting in commemoration of the passion of Christ, this was not the 40th day period known as Lent.
Not at all. But what was it?
In the book of Leviticus, it is written, the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, also on the 10th day of this 7th month, there shall be a day of atonement.
So day of atonement, let's get 1 Timothy 4. So day of atonement, that's the day, which is in Leviticus 23, that we're supposed to keep as a day to afflict our souls and fast and reflect. Not on Ash Wednesday Lent. And that image that they put on their forehead goes back to that pagan cross as well too. 1 Timothy 4. You got it?
The book of 1 Timothy. Chapter 4,
verse 1.
And verse 1. Now the Spirit speaketh expressly that in the latter times,
In later days.
some shall depart from the faith.
So a lot of people would depart from the faith. So, in context, of course, that's talking about people who want to go back to animal sacrifice and the law of Moses and not believe in Christ. But we're going to bring it up to speed as people, the Catholic Church today, where they're taking the Bible and totally skewing what the word says.
Giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils.
Let's see what some of these Catholic doctrines of devils are, including Lent and Easter.
Speaking lies in hypocrisy.
They speak lies in hypocrisy because the Catholic Church, they're the authority and judge of the Christians, but yet they're raping people all the time. They were the people that they rape women and they rape and kill babies. That's common fact. And what they wear that Dagon pagan fish hat on their head. And the Catholic Church was behind many murders for people who will not bow down to the image of Caesar.
Speaking lies and hypocrisy. Having their conscience seared with a hot iron.
And a lot of Catholics, they think that they're the top G's, they're the OGs when it comes to Christianity, and nobody could tell them wrong.
Forbidden to marry.
They forbid to, how do Catholics forbid to marry? Because they say if you're a man of the cloth, you cannot have a wife. You cannot take on a wife, but yet they're molesting and raping people in the church.
Forbidden to marry and abstaining from meats.
During Lent, what do y'all abstain from? Y'all don't eat no red meat. Y'all stay away from chicken. You say, I'm going to have fish. 40 days, I'm only going to eat fish. And fish is meat. It's just not red meat. Fish is still meat. So even that doctrine is completely dumb as hell.
Which God have created to be received with thanksgiving of them which believe and know the truth.
Because Leviticus 11, we read verse 46, we know that all those animals that were made to be good for us to eat, we could eat those things. And the ones that weren't made to eat, we know we can't eat those either. And Leviticus 11 describes that. That doesn't mean that every animal you can eat. It's a them that believe and know the truth, and they can receive those ones that they can receive the ones that were supposed to be eaten. And in that time, in Paul's time, it was referring to us eating meats that might have been sacrificed to other gods. So, like, if you wanted to eat halal meat, people were saying you can't eat halal meat because it's sacrificed to a fake god. It's not even real. Go back to pagan origins. Let's go back there really quick. Start from Paul.
Paul is specifically prophesying of the rise of the Catholic faith.
Like I said, that was one of the prophecies that he was talking about.
In Catholicism.
And what?
In Catholicism, which is the mother of all other Christian denominations.
So if the mother of it, the root of it is evil and idolatrous, what are the denominations? They are wicked as hell too. Keep reading.
Priests are prohibited from getting married. In addition, they have instituted a spring fast and attributed it to the suffering of Christ. However, such a fast and its rituals are rooted not in Christ, but in the pre-Christian pagan worship of antiquity. The word Lent means spring and derives from the Old English word Lenten.
Keep reading.
Spiritually speaking, all roads lead to Babylon.
Read that again.
All roads lead to Babylon.
Whole roads of Christianity lead back to Babylon and Nimrod, because that was his kingdom that he started. Everything you do in the Christian church goes back to Babylon. All of it. Keep reading.
And such is the case in regards to the 40th day spring fast.
The same thing with Lent. Read.
In one version of the Babylonian myth, Tammuz, the great hunter, was slain while hunting a wild boar.
Oh, boo-hoo.
Devotees mourn for him through weeping ceremonies for 40 days.
Okay, so let's go to the scriptures. Let's see if some of our people were following those customs. Let's go to Ezekiel 8. And let's start at verse 13.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 8 and verse 13.
Poor Tammuz.
And he said also unto me, turn thee yet again, and thou shalt see greater abominations.
Greater abominations. Let's see.
Then he brought me to the door of the gate of the Lord's house.
So in the temple, in the Lord's house,
which was towards the north. And behold, there sat women weeping for Tammuz.
So we had women weeping for Tammuz in the temple. Just like today, when y'all celebrating Lent and thinking you're praying towards Jesus, no, you're literally giving honor and homage to Tammuz, the pagan Messiah. That's what y'all doing when y'all do Lent and put that dirty ash on your forehead. All right, let's go back to pagan origins. Let's go to page 38 and 39, because another custom y'all say is Resurrection Sunday. He is risen. All right, let's disprove that false. He rose on Sunday, or if he died, he died on Friday, because they do Lent on Wednesday, then they do Palm Tuesday. Palm Sunday. Then they have Lent Wednesday. Then they have Good Friday when they fry the fish, when supposedly he died on Friday. Then he resurrected Sunday, which the math doesn't add up to be 3 days. But let's read that. Let's start from Easter, perhaps.
Easter is perhaps the most prominent festival in the Christian religion. It is a movable feast that occurs on the Sunday after the vernal equinox. According to Christian tradition,
Again, not the Bible, according to Christian tradition.
Easter Sunday is the festival that commemorates the resurrection of Christ on the third day. However, it has already been mentioned in a previous chapter. See chapter 1. Sunday, day of the sun, not the sun, S-O-N. Christ could not have possibly been crucified on Friday and resurrected on Sunday. The only sign that Jesus gave to indicate that he was indeed the Christ was that he would be in the grave for 3 days and 3 nights. Just like that, the justification for celebrating the most important holiday in the Christian faith is disproved.
It's just that easy. Keep reading.
It is also just an effortless to illustrate the pagan underpinning of this cherished solemnity.
All right, let's go to the Bible right quick. Let's go to 1 Samuel 7:3. Damn, Alicia J. Israel kicking y'all behinds, man. All right, let's go to 1 Samuel 7:3.
The book of 1 Samuel chapter 7 and verse 3. And Samuel spake unto all the house of Israel, saying,
What'd he say?
If ye do turn unto the Lord with all your hearts, then put away the strange gods and Ashtoreth.
Okay, so in the book we read about the queen of heaven, Semiramis, she was called Ashtaroth by the Israelites.
From among you, and prepare your hearts unto the Lord, and serve him only.
So when you're serving Ashtaroth, Astarte, Semiramis, the queen of heaven, where Easter comes from, you are in pagan worship. You're serving other gods. You're bound down to other gods. Keep reading.
And would deliver you out of the hand of the Philistines.
That's only if you stop celebrating that. So all you Christians celebrating Easter Sunday, Lent Wednesday, Ash Wednesday, whatever it is, all them dumb pagan traditions, you are serving false idols. And you're not going to be delivered from your captivity. You're going to die here with everybody else if you don't repent from that. Read verse 4.
Verse 4. And the children of Israel did put away Balaam and Ashtoreth and served the Lord only.
And serve the Lord only. And when we go to Balaam, that goes back to Nimrod. All right, so now let's go back to, let's go to page 8 in the book, page 8 to 11. Because we got to touch on that, how many days Christ was in the ground for. Because according to Christians, their math is definitely off. I'm not the best at math, but at least I don't got that Christian math. All right, page 8, let's start from the first position.
The first position that Jesus was resurrected on Sunday is used as the justification of Easter observance as well as Sunday veneration is flawed.
It's flawed. It's flawed as hell.
Because the Messiah was not resurrected on Sunday.
Keep reading.
The common doctrine teaches is that Jesus was crucified on Friday.
What they call Good Friday.
Good Friday, and rose on Sunday, Easter. However, this is impossible based on Jesus' own words. In the Matthew 12, it is written.
Okay, so let's go to Matthew 12 and 38, where they're referencing.
Matthew chapter 12, verse.
That's enough. Too many spares. All right. Just go to Jeremiah. Let's go to Jeremiah 7 and 17. So you see that song that it's a nursery rhyme song, and whenever you're in band, that's one of the first songs they have you learn, whether on woodwinds and a lot of brass instruments, right? Yep. So they still do that. All right. Jeremiah 7:17.
Jeremiah chapter 7, verse 17. Seest thou not what they do in the cities of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem?
Read.
The children gather wood.
Damn.
And the fathers kindle the fire.
Damn.
And the women knead their dough.
Oh, the whole family's involved. Y'all got the kids doing it. The kids gathering the sticks. The dad's lighting the fire, and the woman rolling the dough. For what?
To make cakes.
To make cakes.
To the Queen of Heaven.
To the Queen of Heaven.
And to pour out drink offerings unto other gods.
Unto other gods. And what are they doing to the Lord?
That they may provoke me to anger.
Provoking him to anger. Because they giving homage to this fake, false God that's not even real. Nimrod, Tammuz, Semiramis, they're not alive anymore, but they still slaying souls. That's why the Lord said he's a mighty hunter of men and souls, because today people are still falling to these false idols and these false religions. Keep reading.
Do they provoke me to anger, saith the Lord? Do they not provoke themselves to the confusion of their own faces?
Y'all confusing yourselves. Now, let's get the video. Let's see, because a lot of Benjamin, y'all love having y'all Easter bun and cheese. Let's see. Play the video.
I want to take this time to wish everyone a happy Easter. Now, in Jamaica, bun and cheese is the way we do it. HTB bun, my favorite, and the best cheese in the world that money can buy. Tastiest cheese. So it doesn't matter where you're at, whether you're Jamaican, American, Cuban, Japanese, Korean, from the Middle East, the Caribbean. We just want to wish you, from the Jamaican traveler to your family, happy Easter. Be safe, enjoy it, and if you can, make sure.
Wow. Make sure you give honor to the Queen of Heaven. Damn.
Have a piece of bun and cheese. All right?
All right, last scripture, y'all. Last scripture. So, Benjamin, that's what y'all got to watch your mouths. Y'all always want to talk about Judah. Judah dumb. Judah don't know this, don't know that. Y'all literally celebrate eating food honor to the Queen of Heaven, to a fertility goddess. That's why y'all so defiled with all them sexual sins down in the island. Y'all, it's a saying in the island. They don't want y'all to know this. It's a saying in the Caribbean. They say cousins make dozens. I'm gonna let y'all. I'm gonna let y'all figure what that means. All right, let's go to Sirach, chapter 33 and what do I want? 33 and 7. We're gonna close out.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 33 and verse 7. Why doth one day excel another?
So if we can't celebrate Easter, then what days are we supposed to celebrate? Why is the day that y'all want to celebrate the Queen of Heaven and Nimrod and Tammuz and the father, son, wife, and incest gods, why is it different from us celebrating the Passover, which we should be celebrating during the spring?
When as all the light of every day in the year is of the sun.
The sky looks the same to me.
By the knowledge of the Lord.
By the knowledge of the Lord, which according to Malachi 2 and 7 is the commandments.
They were distinguished.
They were made separate. They were made different. They were separated out and made holy. In Leviticus 23, we read about a couple of them in the Maccabees and in Esther. They were distinguished and set apart in the scriptures.
And he altered seasons and feasts.
Some
of them have he made high days.
Some are high days like the Passover, like the Sabbath day.
And hallowed them.
And he made them special and separated them out.
And some of them have he made ordinary days.
And some of them are ordinary days, like when y'all celebrate Lent, Good Friday, Resurrection Sunday, all them wicked pagan holidays. Those are ordinary days that the Most High God does not regard. And if you continue celebrating them, you're going to die. Shalom, Most High in Christ bless.